Hello and welcome to our new video. This is the Severin FR2445 XXL air fryer. I have tested it for you and you'll find out everything you need to know in this video, so stay tuned. Let's get started with the Severin FR2445. Before we get to the practical test, we'll give you a brief overview of the product in our features and technology section. The air fryer from Severin comes with an output of 2,000 watts and has a capacity of 5 liters. 8 predefined programs, so-called presets, can be selected via the LCD touch display. The values can also be set individually. The temperature can be set between 80 and 200 degrees Celsius. When the set time has elapsed, you will hear an acoustic signal. At 34 times 30 centimeters and a depth of 38 centimeters, the air fryer's measurements are okay. Competitors with a similar capacity have comparable values. Severin has useful transport handles at the bottom of the appliance if you want to put the air fryer away after each use. It's easier to carry that way. This appliance also has a special feature up its sleeve, namely a memory function. This allows you to change the preset values if required. The advantage of this is that you don't have to remember which values are best for your favorite fries, for example. On the contrary, you simply save the values and use them whenever you want. Other than that, the air fryer stands securely on non-slip feet and has a sufficiently long cable with a length of around 90 centimeters. And that's pretty much it. There are no other accessories or anything special included. By the way, if you want to know where you can buy this air fryer as cheaply as possible, take a look at the description below the video. There you will find all the links. So much for some general information about the air fryer. Now let's get down to the essentials, namely our practical test. The first thing we want to look at is how to properly use the appliance and how to operate it correctly. So let's go through this together. First of all, place the air fryer on a heat-resistant surface, leaving as much space as possible around the appliance so that the heat can radiate. Before your first use, the manufacturer recommends running the appliance once at 200 degrees Celsius for around 15 minutes. This should ensure that residual odors can dissipate. Then go ahead and clean the appliance once before using it for the first time. You should at least rinse or wipe through the inserts once. Once everything is dry, plug it in and you're good to go. Press the on button and you now have the following choice. Either select one of the 8 predefined programs using the menu button or set the temperature and time individually using the up and down buttons. Unfortunately, the temperature can only be set in 10-degree increments. We would have preferred 5-degree increments. Press the on button again to start the air fryer. The heating symbol will appear. So much for the operation. But before we get to cooking, I'd like to say a quick word about the presets. These presets are basically good and helpful values if you are not yet very familiar with the appliance itself or if you are trying out new products. But don't rely on them too much. Open it from time to time. Take a look inside. How does the food turn out? How does it develop in there? You can always think about whether you should shake it once again, or perhaps even set different values to achieve the perfect result. Just remember, the presets are basically only rough guidelines. Accordingly, we did not rely too much on the predefined programs in our test, and preferred to readjust them ourselves if in doubt. This way, the cooking results turned out really good in general. And this applies to almost all of the air fryers we reviewed. Fries get crispy on the outside and tender on the inside. You have to be a little careful that they don't get too dry, but basically, you get a good and tasty result. The same goes for chicken nuggets. We also tried it with chicken wings. We have a visually very nice result here as well. Everything is cooked through and tastes good. Vegetables are a tricky thing with these air fryers. The hot air dries them out super quickly, and then they burn very easily. Our tip? Things that you normally cook in the pot should stay in the pot. If you want to roast vegetables on the other hand, well, you can do that. But you definitely need to work with a little extra oil. You should also monitor the cooking process carefully and play with the temperatures if necessary to get good results. Baking, on the other hand, works pretty well. We tried it with muffins, and what can we say? They baked up well, were firm enough on the outside and fluffy and done on the inside. Good cooking results. What more do we actually want? Basically, we wanted less, namely less fat. That's what the manufacturers of these air fryers advertise. And it's true. By simply no longer bathing the food in fat, but in hot air, we simply have less fat on the product itself. The bottom line is that we taste more of the food again because it's no longer covered in fat. All good and well, but what about the handling? Is it even practical to use an air fryer like this? Basically, it depends on the appliance in question. Severin comes with a drawer consisting of a cooking basket and a tray. The advantage of such a drawer is that it is easier to turn the food than in a conventional oven. As the drawer also weighs relatively little, you don't have to exert yourself too much when turning the food. It is also helpful that the appliance stops when the tray is removed, which makes handling it a little more convenient. On the other hand, the tray is unfortunately quite open, which means that crumbs and the like tend to fly around the kitchen when turning the food. If you're worried about your ears falling off, you can relax with Severin. The air fryer was one of the quietest appliances at around 55 to 57 decibels. More problematic is the heat development. Although the handle remains cool, the casing gets quite hot, and the drawer can even get really uncomfortable. The ventilation grid on the back also emits hot air, so you should be a little careful here. And as a reminder, you can find the link to the Severin air fryer below the video in the description. And if the video was helpful to you, please give us a like and subscribe to our channel. The workmanship is okay in general. There are some visible gaps, especially on the sides, but the rest of the appliance is fine, even if we would have hoped for a little more in the end. The whole thing is made of some smooth plastic, which makes a good impression. The protective cap for the cooking basket is a little wobbly, but we've seen much worse on other appliances as well, so that's not too bad. When it comes to cleaning the air fryer, you should first allow the appliance to cool down so that it can be handled safely. Unfortunately, neither the frying basket nor the tray can be put in the dishwasher. However, thanks to the ceramic coating, they are easy to wash by hand. The housing is best treated with a damp cloth. Let's come to the conclusion. The Severin FR2445XXL air fryer is a low to medium price ranged appliance that delivers a solid performance overall. It is very quiet, and the memory function is an interesting feature for this price range. On the other hand, you have to accept that it generates quite a lot of heat, but that's something other air fryers also have to contend with. In addition, the somewhat inaccurate gap dimensions and the not completely closed basket are a little unsightly. All in all, however, the Severin air fryer is a functional appliance with good cooking results, which is reasonably priced and seems well suited as an entry-level model. So I have tested this air fryer for you. If you are interested in the product, then take a look at the description below. You can find all the links there. Other than that, I'd be delighted if you stay tuned. Our end card will provide a few more video suggestions for you.